Let's look at some dictionary methods that are commonly used. So I'm going to make a new file called dictionary. I'm going to call this one clear demo. And sometimes what you have is a situation where you have a dictionary and you want to clear its contents. So let's do this. Let's make a dictionary which is equal to this. And we'll print a dictionary to start. And what we get is this. So dictionary start is just what we put in. And then let's do this. Let's do d.clear. And then we will print the dictionary after the clear. And we'll run that. And what you can see is it does in fact empty out the dictionary. So note that with this we just apply the clear operation and it changes the clear. What you don't want to do is this. You don't want to say d equals d.clear. And we'll see why here when we run this change. So if I say d equals d.clear, it turns out that d.clear doesn't actually return anything. It does an operation on the dictionary, which is to clear it. And if you say d is equal to d.clear, what will happen is d will actually be set with the value none. So when you're using a clear operation, it needs to be done this way. Just say d.clear and it will clear that object. And you can see here, we do in fact still have a dictionary, but it's emptied. Now, there's a reason why we want to use d.clear rather than say do something like this, because you could also do this. You could reassign it to an empty dictionary, and that would kind of do the same thing, but it's slightly different. So I'm going to make another demo here, and I'm going to call this one clear versus reassign demo. And what we're going to do is we're going to say let's set x equal to an empty dictionary, and then we're going to say y equals x. So let's say that we want, for some reason, we want x and y to point to this dictionary. And we're going to, and so x and y are actually pointing to the same dictionary in memory. And so to demonstrate that, I'm going to add an element, key value pair to x. So now x has key and has value. And then let's print x at this point. And we'll do that this way. We'll say x and then x. It looks like I need to rename this .py. I'm not getting my IntelliSense. It doesn't know it's a Python program. Okay, that's much better. So this will display what's inside of x. And then we'll also display what's inside of y. So note that what we're doing is we're making x be an empty. We're setting y equal to x. We're changing x. And then let's see what happens. And we can see that x is key in value. And so both of these end up with the same thing. So why we only changed x here? Why did y change? Well, variables are actually, in these instances, are actually pointers. X is not this dictionary. X is a pointer to where this dictionary is located in memory. When I say y equals x, I'm making y point to exactly the same dictionary. So whatever I do to x will happen to y as well. Now, let's do this. Let's say x is equal to an empty, and then we will print these two again and say x after delete or after change. We'll just do it this way, and y after change. So then the question is, if I set x equal to this empty dictionary, will that also change y? And in point of fact, it doesn't change y. So if I set, and the reason is realize every time, the thing on the right is the thing in memory. X, the assignment operation just says point x to this thing in memory. So I set x to this thing in memory. I set y to point to that same thing. I modified that, and both of these at that point ended up being this dictionary with two values in it. Then what I did is I said, okay, now make a new dictionary, point x to it. But y is still pointing to the old one. So that's why y still is pointing to here. In some instances, that may be desirable. Maybe you want y to keep track of the old one while you're updating x. And that would make sense. But maybe what you want is when you clear x to also clear y. Watch what happens when I do x.clear. So remember, before, when I set an empty list equal to x, it didn't change y. After I do this, notice that now, if I clear x, remember, x is pointing to this dictionary, it also changes y, because y is pointing to the same dictionary. So if I clear the dictionary that the x is pointing to, since y is pointing to the same one, it modifies it. So if you're using clear versus x equals an empty list versus that, this will modify y, and I'll just put it this way. So that modifies y. And so the clear will modify both x and y. If I just assign something to x, it does not modify y. So just an interesting aspect of using clear versus an empty assignment. So that's the clear method.